13 terrifying archaeological discoveries in Egypt that even top experts can't explain. Welcome back, everyone, to the Ancient History Channel. My dear friends, when we talk about ancient Egypt, the first images that come to mind are probably the massive pyramids, the perfectly preserved mummies that have survived for thousands of years, or the mysterious symbols carved deep into stone walls. But have you ever wondered, beyond those golden sands of the desert, how many secrets still remain unsolved? Egypt, the land of mighty pharaohs, has long been the cradle of countless legends and timeless wonders. For centuries, people thought we already knew everything about this ancient civilization. Yet every time an archaeologist's shovel digs a little deeper into the ground, another mystery emerges, leaving the entire world in awe. And now, thanks to modern archaeological technology, from laser scanning and ground-penetrating radar to ancient DNA analysis, scientists are gradually peeling back the layers of secrets that have been buried beneath the scorching sands for millennia. The latest discoveries not only astonish experts, but also completely reshape how we understand ancient Egypt. So, what exactly are these discoveries? Could they challenge everything we once believed about human history? Join me as we dive deep into this fascinating journey of exploration. I promise, what you're about to see will keep your eyes glued to the screen. 83 ancient Egyptian skeletons buried in clay coffins. In 2020, while the world was busy dealing with major global upheavals, the quiet Djehuti region in northern Egypt suddenly became the center of attention for archaeologists around the globe. On February 24th of that year, archaeologists uncovered 83 ancient tombs, each containing the remains of ancient Egyptians. At first glance, it might seem like just another ordinary excavation, but what left everyone astonished was the fact that these bodies weren't buried in the usual stone or wooden coffins, but instead in coffins made entirely of clay. Just imagine it, amid a civilization renowned for its monumental wonders like the Great Pyramid of Giza or the lavish royal tombs, discovering such humble clay coffins feels like stumbling upon a forgotten mystery buried deep within the desert sands. This discovery opened up a series of profound questions about the burial customs and social structure of ancient Egyptian society. According to Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities, among the 83 tombs, 3 were identified as dating back to the Naqada III period, around 3100 BCE, the era just before Egypt was unified under its first dynasty. During that time, members of the upper class were typically buried in mud brick tombs or elaborate wooden coffins, while commoners, especially the poor, were often laid to rest in simple shallow graves, sometimes without any coffin at all. So who were the individuals buried in these clay coffins? Which social class did they belong to? And why did ancient Egyptians choose clay, a seemingly humble material, as the final resting place for these people? This puzzling discovery has left scientists scratching their heads, as it completely contradicts what they previously understood about Egyptian burial practices. But that's not all. During the excavation, researchers also unearthed a number of valuable artifacts buried alongside the deceased. Finely crafted pottery, stone tools, amulets, and even jewelry made of gold and precious stones. These objects not only reflect social status, but also reveal the deep spiritual beliefs of the ancient Egyptians, particularly their faith in the afterlife, where the soul was believed to continue its journey beyond the physical body. From these clues, experts suggest that the Djehuti region may once have been a thriving settlement, home to generations of ancient Egyptians. And who knows, beneath that very soil, there could still be dozens or even hundreds of tombs waiting to be uncovered. Archaeologists are hopeful that future discoveries in Djehuti will help decode more mysteries about the daily life, religion, and social hierarchy of Egyptians who lived over 5,000 years ago. Perhaps this very site will rewrite a chapter of history we thought we already knew. So what do you think? Could these clay coffins be evidence of a forgotten burial custom, or perhaps the trace of a distinct social group within ancient Egyptian civilization? As for me, I believe the answer still lies somewhere beneath the golden sands of Djehuti, waiting for the day it will finally be brought to light. Family mummies, found in 30 ancient tombs in Egypt. Amid the timeless landscape of Aswan, where the Nile River winds gently past shimmering sandstone hills, archaeologists have made a discovery that has stunned the entire world. On June 28, 2024, during a large-scale excavation, They uncovered more than 30 ancient tombs scattered along a hillside near the mausoleum of Aga Khan. 3. What makes this discovery so remarkable is not just the number of tombs found, but the mummies inside them. Men, women, and children who lived and died during the Greco-Roman period, thousands of years ago. Amid the barren desert, each tomb was carefully constructed in multiple levels, arranged according to the social status of the deceased. At the top of the hill, where the view of the Nile is most breathtaking, rested the upper class, people of high rank and privilege. Below them, along the slopes, lay the middle-class tombs, simpler in design but still rich with cultural and spiritual significance from their era. The entire burial complex is believed to have been used for nearly 900 years, from the 6th century BCE to around the 2nd or 3rd century CE, spanning both the Ptolemaic and Roman periods. Inside the tombs, the excavation team uncovered a wealth of funerary artifacts, including papier-mâché coffins, cartonnage panels made from recycled linen or papyrus, and pottery decorated with vine leaf motifs, a distinctive symbol of the Greco-Roman age. These items were not merely burial offerings. They represented the strong cultural fusion between ancient Egypt and the broader Mediterranean world. Yet the most moving and mysterious aspect of this discovery was that entire families were buried together. Archaeologists found mummies of parents and their children lying side by side within the same tomb. Strikingly, several of the mummies belonged to young children, some under 2 years old. This has led scientists to suspect that an infectious disease, perhaps an epidemic or ancient plague, may have claimed the lives of many Aswan residents at the same time. One particularly puzzling case involved 2 mummies originally thought to be a mother and child. However, after DNA analysis and X-ray imaging, researchers discovered they were actually 2 brothers, buried alongside their parents. This heartbreaking revelation paints a poignant picture of familial loss and the devastating impact of a disease outbreak that ancient people had no means to fight. Further medical analysis revealed that anemia and infectious diseases such as tuberculosis were common causes of death, even among the upper classes, something few had previously imagined. Doctors and scientists from Aswan University Hospital are now collaborating to perform X-rays, CT scans, and other paleopathological studies to better determine why so many individuals perished in this region. To date, at least 300 tombs have been mapped across a cemetery spanning more than 215,000 square feet, and archaeologists believe that countless secrets still lie buried beneath the desert soil. Each tomb, each mummy, and each artifact uncovered adds another piece to the grand puzzle of life and death in ancient Egypt during the Greco-Roman era. Just think, behind those silent mummies, how many stories remain untold? Perhaps they are the whispers of a lost civilization, waiting for us to uncover and understand the tragedies, the faith, and the fragile humanity woven into the endless flow of history. It's hard to say for sure, isn't it? Fossil of a giant monster emerges from the Egyptian desert. You might think that in Egypt's scorching desert, blistering hot, bone-dry, and barren, there's nothing but sand and sun, right? Well, think again. Right in the middle of the Karga Oasis, a place that seems to hold nothing but dust and rock, scientists have made a discovery that has shaken the entire world of paleontology. The remains of a monster measuring nearly 50 feet long, buried beneath layers of sediment that date back tens of millions of years. Sounds exciting already, doesn't it? But hold on, it's not a mythical beast or a creature from legend. It's a real dinosaur, belonging to the Titanosaur family, which means giant lizard. These were the largest dinosaurs ever to walk the earth, massive creatures weighing dozens of tons, the kind of giants most people thought existed only in movies. The newly discovered dinosaur has been named Igai Semku, a name deeply rooted in ancient Egyptian language and mystique. Fossils of the creature include 5 vertebrae and 12 additional bone fragments, enough for paleontologists to estimate that in life, it measured between 33 and 50 feet long. While some of its Titanosaur relatives reached lengths of over 100 feet and weights of 60 to 70 tons, Igai Semku remains a remarkably important find, especially because it was unearthed in a region where no one expected to discover such a gigantic creature. Even more fascinating, it lived roughly 75 million years ago, during the late Cretaceous period, the golden age of dinosaurs, just before the mass extinction that wiped them from the planet. Imagine it. In the same endless dunes that today seem lifeless and silent, colossal dinosaurs once roamed. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real, verified science. And here's the truly intriguing part. This isn't just another fossil discovery. According to the research team led by paleontologist Eric Gorskak from Ohio University, USA, Igai Semku supports the theory that during the Cretaceous period, North Africa and parts of Eurasia may have shared a common population of four-legged land animals. In other words, these titanic creatures didn't just roam South America, known as the traditional homeland of titanosaurs, but also lived in North Africa, forming a distinct yet closely related branch of the species. And get this, even though only a few bones were found, they were embedded in the Qusayr Formation, an ancient and extremely rare geological layer in the Karga Oasis. That makes this discovery even more valuable and scientifically significant. So, hidden beneath what seems like a lifeless desert lies a majestic prehistoric past, a time when giants weighing tens of tons thundered across what is now barren sand. Truly an extraordinary and awe-inspiring reminder of how much history still sleeps beneath Egypt's golden dunes. A 1,800-year-old Roman city unearthed beneath Luxor. If you still think Egypt is all about pyramids, mummies, and ancient temples, then you're in for a surprise. Recently, archaeologists uncovered a perfectly preserved Roman city dating back more than 1,800 years, hidden beneath the heart of Luxor, a place often called the world's greatest open-air museum. And no, this isn't just a few crumbling walls or piles of broken bricks. It's a large urban settlement, complete with residential houses, utility systems, and industrial facilities. According to researchers, this is the largest and most significant Roman city ever discovered on the eastern side of Luxor to date. Archaeologists determined that it once thrived during the 2nd and 3rd centuries CE, when the Roman Empire ruled this region. As the excavation team began digging, pieces of the past slowly emerged. Ancient houses, 2 sturdy pigeon towers, and most notably, a series of workshops and forges. And these weren't empty ruins. Inside, archaeologists found ceramic jars, storage vessels, work tools, and even Roman bronze coins, powerful evidence of a once vibrant local economy. From these findings, it's clear this was once a bustling hub of production and trade, not just a residential area. But what makes it truly remarkable is this. The eastern bank of Luxor has long been famous mainly for its tombs, temples, and religious monuments. Discovering such a large-scale Roman civilian city here is exceptionally rare, and it opens an entirely new chapter in the study of Roman Egypt. When people think of Luxor, they usually think of ancient Thebes, the glorious capital of pharaonic Egypt, home to hundreds of majestic temples and the tombs of the pharaohs. But now, Luxor also reveals another layer of its past, a long-lost Roman city, once a thriving urban center during the height of the Roman Empire, when Western culture had already woven itself deeply into this ancient eastern land. Let's not forget, back in 2021, it was also in Luxor that archaeologists announced the discovery of the lost Golden City, a 3,000-year-old Egyptian metropolis hailed as the largest ancient city ever unearthed in the country. And now, Luxor once again stuns the world, with a remarkably well-preserved Roman city, a true time capsule connecting us directly to the world of antiquity. Is there anything more fascinating than that? A place where the legacy of ancient Egypt meets the grandeur of imperial Rome, all hidden beneath layers of desert dust, waiting to be awakened. Who would have imagined that under the sands of Luxor lay a lively Roman city, where people once lived, traded, and crafted their goods by hand? I bet you're just as amazed as I am. A 3,000-year-old cemetery reveals the treasure of the priests and singers of the god Djehuti. When you hear the words Egyptian treasure, you probably think of pyramids, gold, and mysterious movie-style curses, right? But this time, the discovery isn't about a mighty pharaoh's tomb. It's about a 3,000-year-old cemetery that holds the real secrets of ancient Egyptian civilization, the identities of important figures and their sacred beliefs about the afterlife. This burial ground lies in Al-Ghuraifa, about 170 miles south of Cairo, a desolate area few people visit, where it seems that only sand and time remain. Yet beneath that barren ground rests the story of priests, temple singers, and a once prosperous society from Egypt's New Kingdom period. which lasted from around 1580 to 1077 BCE. Here, archaeologists uncovered a series of beautifully carved wooden coffins, each containing the mummified remains of remarkable individuals. Among the most notable finds was the coffin of a woman named Tati-Essa, the daughter of a high-ranking priest who served the god Djehuti. Do you know who Djehuti is? He's better known by his Greek name, Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom and writing, often depicted as an ibis or a baboon. Finding Tati-Essa's name inscribed in the tomb reveals that her family once held significant religious and social status during that era. But the surprises didn't stop there. Excavators also uncovered another tomb belonging to a woman named Nani, who was described as a singer of the god Djehuti. In ancient Egyptian culture, such singers weren't mere performers. They played a sacred role in temple rituals, chanting hymns to communicate with the gods. This shows that Djehuti's worship community included not only priests but also devotional artists, forming a rich and interconnected network of spiritual practice. What amazed researchers even more was the discovery of a papyrus scroll measuring roughly 40 to 50 feet long, still in relatively good condition. Written on it were passages from the Book of the Dead, a sacred text that guided souls through the dangerous trials of the afterlife toward eternal life. This scroll was, in essence, a map for the soul, with each line of text and every illustration serving as a clue to understanding the ancient Egyptians' deep spiritual faith. Alongside it were canopic jars, used to store internal organs after mummification, and Ushabti funerary figurines, buried to serve the deceased in the afterlife. Though small, these artifacts are the golden keys to unlocking the spiritual life of ancient Egyptians. The Al-Ghuraifa site was first excavated back in 1925, but after decades of looting and damage, it wasn't until the early 2000s that Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities officially launched renewed rescue excavations. Thanks to those efforts, we can now explore what had lain hidden beneath the desert for over 3,000 years. These discoveries provide far more than priceless artifacts. They open a window into the people, religion, and beliefs about death that shaped ancient Egyptian civilization. Clearly, uncovering a cemetery can sometimes be more valuable than finding gold, for within it lie the knowledge, history, and very soul of a great civilization. The mysterious chambers in the desert cliffs of Abydos. Anyone fascinated by archaeology will surely recognize the name Abydos, one of the oldest and most sacred cities of ancient Egypt. Recently, archaeologists uncovered a series of mysterious chambers carved deep into the cliffside, located on the western edge of Abydos, in the heart of the scorching desert, within the sacred valley south of the royal necropolis of al-Kab. This area, near the towns of El Araba El Madfuna and Balyana, lies about 7 miles west of the Nile River. For thousands of years, it has been a major pilgrimage center dedicated to Osiris, the god of the underworld, death, and rebirth. Abydos was not only the burial site of Egypt's earliest pharaohs, but also a holy land where every rock seems to hold a fragment of the ancient civilization's soul. Amid this hallowed landscape, researchers noticed a series of small, strange openings on the cliff face, like forgotten doorways left behind by time. As they began excavating, they discovered interconnected chambers linked by narrow passageways, some standing only about 4 feet high, forcing modern explorers to crouch as they entered. Some of the spaces were single rooms, while others consisted of 2, 3, or even 5 connected chambers, carved deep into the stone along natural tunnels formed by ancient water flow over thousands of years. Although most of the chambers showed no elaborate carvings or decorations, their interiors featured shallow niches, stone benches, and, most intriguingly, small holes beneath the ceilings, which may once have been used to hang offerings, oil lamps, or ritual objects. No mummies were found, but in one chamber, archaeologists uncovered pottery fragments and ancient inscriptions bearing the names Ku-in-Hor, mother of Amenirtis, and her grandmother Nes-Hor, figures dating to the Ptolemaic period, circa 332 to 300 BCE. These discoveries act as a key to a hidden corner of history that humanity has rarely glimpsed. According to Matthew Adams of the Institute of Fine Arts at New York University, who co-led the North Abydos expedition, the high position of these chambers, carved into the cliffs of a sacred valley, suggests a site of deep religious significance. It may not have been a burial site at all, but rather a ritual complex used for religious ceremonies, offerings, or ascetic practices tied to ancient beliefs about death and rebirth. Meanwhile, Egyptian expert Ashraf Abul Fethu Mostafa noted that caves, whether natural or man-made, played an essential role in Egypt's cultural and spiritual history. However, natural caves along the Nile Valley were rarely used, since they were prone to flooding, erosion, and collapse during times of instability. As a result, the ancient Egyptians deliberately carved artificial chambers high in the desert cliffs to safeguard both their rituals and the deceased from tomb robbers. Thus, these rock-cut chambers on the western cliffs of Abydos stand as living evidence of the Egyptians' extraordinary spiritual vision and engineering genius. They reflect a belief that to achieve immortality, the soul must first endure the trials of the mortal world and then reach a place of eternal rest, a sacred space suspended between stone, sand, and the divine. The 4,265 feet tunnel, a clue leading to Cleopatra's lost tomb. If one day we could walk through the depths of the earth to touch history itself, the first place to set foot might just be the Temple of Taposiris Magna, located on the western side of Alexandria, Egypt. At first glance, it seems like just another ancient temple, but beneath its layers of solid stone and centuries of dust lies something strange and mesmerizing. A mysterious underground tunnel stretching nearly 4,265 feet, recently discovered by archaeologists. And rumor has it, this tunnel could be the final clue leading to the lost tomb of Queen Cleopatra, the last and most legendary ruler of ancient Egypt. Let's journey underground to uncover this 2,000-year-old mystery together. The story begins beneath the grounds of Taposiris Magna, where Egyptian archaeologists have been excavating tirelessly for years. During their work, they unexpectedly struck a massive stone tunnel, carved directly into solid rock with astonishing precision. Measuring over 4,200 feet in length, this tunnel wasn't merely an aqueduct or an escape passage, it was described as a geometric marvel. Even more fascinating, the tunnel's architectural design resembles the Tunnel of Eupalinos, a masterpiece of ancient Greek engineering. Built over 2,500 years ago on the island of Samos, the Eupalinos tunnel is famous for its near-perfect alignment, despite being dug from two opposite ends of a mountain that met flawlessly in the middle. So, why would a Greek-style tunnel exist deep beneath an Egyptian temple? This question has sparked speculation about a potential connection between Taposiris Magna and Greco-Roman civilization, a clue that could reshape our understanding of Egypt's late history. But that's not the most captivating part. During excavation, archaeologists also unearthed ancient pottery buried deep beneath layers of mud sediment, as well as a rectangular limestone block, possibly part of a collapsed architectural structure. Nearby, two plaster statues were discovered, one of which dates back to the Ptolemaic dynasty, the era when Cleopatra VII reigned as Egypt's last pharaoh. The most shocking revelation, however, is that part of the tunnel is submerged underwater. According to geological studies, at least 23 earthquakes struck Egypt's northern coastline between 320 and 1303 CE, likely causing sections of Taposiris Magna to collapse and sink below the current ground level. So why do many researchers believe Cleopatra may be buried here? The answer lies behind the temple, where archaeologists found an ancient necropolis containing mummies wrapped in Greco-Roman style. All of the mummies face toward the temple, as if in reverence to something sacred hidden within. Experts interpret this as a possible sign of a royal burial nearby, perhaps even belonging to Cleopatra VII herself and her famed lover, Mark Antony. Leading this extraordinary search is Dr. Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican archaeologist who has spent 14 years excavating Taposiris Magna. She firmly believes she is closer than anyone has ever been to discovering Cleopatra's long-lost resting place. So, could this 4,265 feet long tunnel truly lead to the tomb of one of history's most powerful women? Could the mud, broken statues, and mummies facing the temple be silently pointing toward an ancient secret about to be revealed? The questions remain unanswered, but with every inch unearthed beneath the desert, humanity edges closer to solving one of Egypt's greatest archaeological mysteries. Thonis-Heracleion, the sunken golden city finally revealed. Have you ever imagined a bustling, vibrant city filled with busy ships and merchants from all directions suddenly disappearing off the map, only to be discovered thousands of years later beneath the sea? It sounds like a legend, but this is exactly the true story of Thonis-Heracleion, a magnificent ancient Egyptian port city now resting quietly under the waves. Today, let's dive deep into the ocean to explore an enormous archaeological treasure, where every piece of wood, anchor, and shipwreck lying silently beneath the mud tells the golden tale of Egypt's ancient civilization. Led by a marine archaeology team from Oxford University, excavations at Thonis-Heracleion have opened a whole new chapter in history. It's no coincidence the city was once called Egypt's Gateway, because before any goods entered the interior, they had to pass through here, offloaded, taxed, and thoroughly inspected. In other words, Thonis-Heracleion functioned as one of the most strategic trade control hubs in the ancient world. But what truly takes archaeologists' breath away is not just the city's location or role, but what remains beneath the seabed. 64 ancient ships, dating from the 8th to the 2nd century BCE, have been discovered, and intriguingly, many appear to have been deliberately sunk. You might be wondering, as I did, why would anyone sink their own ships? The prevailing theory is that this area witnessed power struggles or armed conflicts. These sunken vessels weren't casualties of storms or accidents. Rather, they were likely casualties of conspiracies and battles to control this wealthy harbor. The discoveries don't stop there. More than 700 ancient anchors have been unearthed, an enormous number making Thonis-Heracleion the largest known collection of maritime artifacts from the ancient world. Imagine, each anchor represents a ship, a story, a merchant, and a piece of history. Another fascinating point is that during surveys, researchers found this area once served as a crossroads between two distinct ancient civilizations in the Nile Basin. The overlapping natural and man-made waterways created a unique land where cultures, commerce, and people intertwined in a way unlike anywhere else. Yet, a mystery remains unsolved. Why are there ship cemeteries located about 1 mile from the mouth of the Nile? The 43rd ship found appears to be part of a group of 10 vessels moving into this area, possibly fleeing or engaged in a battle for control of the port. Whatever the reason, the presence of these ships here clearly shows that Thonis-Heracleion was not just a trading port, it was also a battleground in the shadows. Though we don't have definite answers yet, one thing is clear. This excavation has reignited the story of ancient Egypt's maritime history. The shipwrecks, artifacts, and remains of civilizations are not just archaeological relics, they are living pages of history that the ocean has carefully preserved for millennia. What do you think? How many more secrets could still be buried beneath the deep mud? And could Thonis-Heracleion hold the key to unlocking an entirely new understanding of ancient Egypt? Leave your thoughts below so we can discuss, because this story is definitely far from over. The strange three-lobed disc, advanced technology, 5,000 years ahead of its time. There is an artifact quietly resting in a small corner of the Cairo Museum of Antiquities, not gilded or encrusted with jewels, nor grand or spectacular like famous Egyptian pharaoh statues or mummies, but it has puzzled archaeologists and scientists for nearly 90 years. This is the Sabu disc, an object that seems ordinary at first glance, yet the more it's studied, the stranger and harder to explain it becomes. The story begins in 1936, when British Egyptologist Walter Bryan Emery was excavating an ancient cemetery at Saqqara, one of the oldest and largest burial grounds in ancient Egypt. This was the resting place of many nobles and high-ranking individuals in Egyptian society. In a tomb labeled Tomb 3111, believed to be that of Prince Sabu, the son of Pharaoh Anejib of the First Dynasty, Emery and his team found familiar burial goods such as animal bones, pottery, stone bowls, and ivory. But among these relics, one item stunned the entire excavation team. A stone disc broken into many fragments, shaped in a way never seen before. After carefully piecing it back together, the disc revealed its form. A circular structure with 3 evenly curved lobes, a hollow central shaft about 4 inches in diameter, and 3 concave convex holes connecting the body to the disc's rim. What makes it truly strange isn't just the design, it's the material it's made from. Metasiltstone, also called schist, a very porous, fragile type of stone that's extremely difficult to carve by hand, especially considering the tools at the time were limited to stone or soft copper. To put it simply, even today, making a thin, smooth, and precise object like this from schist would be a challenge for CNC machines, let alone 5,000 years ago with primitive tools. Because of this, the Sabu disc quickly became a hot topic in archaeology. At first, many thought it was just a flower vase, an incense burner, or simply decorative burial ware, but its bizarre and incredibly precise design soon made those theories untenable. Some modern researchers have offered bolder hypotheses that the Sabu disc could be a rotating part, a technical component, or even resemble the structure of a rotor or turbine, devices that wouldn't appear until thousands of years later. If that's true, could it be that the ancient Egyptians had access to technology far ahead of their time? Or did they know something we still can't comprehend? Though no official answer has been found regarding the disk's true function, one fact is undeniable. It remains an unsolved mystery, a strange artifact created at a time when, according to conventional knowledge, no one could have made something like it. It inevitably raises the question, have we fully understood ancient Egypt? Or is this just the tip of a much deeper historical iceberg? So, if you ever visit the Cairo Museum, be sure to look for the small corner where the Sabu disc is displayed. It doesn't sparkle or dazzle, but it carries with it a massive weight of questions about the past. And who knows, this three-lobed disc might just be the crucial missing piece to decode what's still hidden beneath the sands of time in the glorious civilization of ancient Egypt. A 52-feet scroll inside a 2,000-year-old coffin. Whenever ancient Egypt is mentioned, most people immediately think of pyramids, mummies, and mysterious tales about the afterlife, right? But there's something else just as important in Egyptian spiritual culture, the Book of the Dead. Recently, in 2023, archaeologists in Saqqara, Egypt, uncovered a scroll measuring up to 52 feet long inside a coffin more than 2,000 years old. What makes this discovery especially remarkable is that it contains the entire text of the Book of the Dead, an extremely valuable artifact, found complete for the first time in this area in over a century. This find took place just south of the Step Pyramid of Djoser, the very first pyramid built in Egypt around 2630 BCE. This area is famously known as an archaeological treasure trove and served as a burial ground for pharaohs and nobility for thousands of years. Among countless mummies, artifacts, and ancient structures, this extraordinarily long scroll has drawn special attention. According to Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the scroll dates from approximately 712 BCE to 332 BCE, placing it within the period between the Ptolemaic dynasties. This was a time when ancient Egyptians maintained strong beliefs in the afterlife and practiced highly complex spiritual rituals. So, what does the scroll contain? It is the Book of the Dead, and no, it's not a book of ghosts, but rather a collection of spells, rituals, and magical formulas designed to help the deceased navigate traps and challenges in their journey after death. The Egyptians believed that for the soul to reach eternity, it had to overcome countless obstacles in the underworld. This book served as both a map and a spiritual weapon to aid them. Interestingly, the texts in the Book of the Dead were not only for the dead. Many scholars suggest that the living also used these rituals and spells during religious ceremonies as a way to purify, seek blessings, or guide their earthly lives. In other words, it wasn't just afterlife assistance, but also a spiritual guide for the living. Previously, in 2022, a 13-feet fragment of a similar scroll was found near the pyramid of Pharaoh Teti, also a significant discovery. But this 52-feet scroll is truly unprecedented at Saqqara in modern times. These ongoing discoveries in the area not only help archaeologists better understand ancient Egyptian beliefs and funeral rites, but also deepen our appreciation of the rich spiritual life of one of the world's oldest civilizations. Frankly, every scroll and spell unearthed beneath Saqqara's soil is like a whisper from the past, telling the story of people who believed in life after death, in souls, justice, and a world where they could live forever, if they passed every test along the way, as you now know. More than 2,000 mummified ram heads offered to Pharaoh Ramses II. Did you know that deep in the dry desert of southern Egypt, archaeologists, while tirelessly digging through layers of earth, unexpectedly discovered over 2,000 carefully mummified ram heads quietly resting inside an ancient temple? It's not a treasure of gold or silver, nor human mummies, but an entire sacred cemetery dedicated solely to rams. Sounds strange, right? But behind this unusual discovery lies a religious mystery and ritual practice of ancient Egyptian civilization, all centered around one extremely famous name, Pharaoh Ramses II, one of Egypt's greatest rulers in history. This find comes from Abydos, one of Egypt's most important archaeological sites. A research team from the Institute of the Ancient World at New York University excavated the massive number of ram heads inside a temple dedicated to Ramses II, the legendary pharaoh who ruled for 66 years during the New Kingdom period, roughly between 1292 and 1190 BCE. Now, many of you might ask, why did people mummify rams' heads, and why more than 2,000 of them were brought into a temple honoring a king who died over 1,000 years ago? The answer lies in ancient Egyptian beliefs. The ram symbolized strength, fertility, and was especially connected with Khnum, the ram-headed creator god believed to shape humans from clay on his divine potter's wheel. So, when the ancient people offered these mummified ram heads to Ramses II, they were not only showing respect, but also praying for fertility, prosperity, and eternal life for the pharaoh's soul. What's even more remarkable is that this ritual took place about 1,000 years after Ramses II's death, proving that his influence and worship persisted strongly through generations, as a godlike figure rather than just a mortal king. In addition to the ram heads, other mummified animals such as dogs, antelopes, cattle, wild goats, and ostriches were also found, each a sacred offering. The discoveries don't stop there. Archaeologists also uncovered an ancient architectural structure dating back some 4,000 years to the 6th dynasty, 2345 to 2181 BCE, nearly 1,000 years before Ramses II's era. This structure includes walls up to 16 feet thick, providing valuable insights into Abydos's landscape and architecture before the famous temple was built. Additionally, artifacts such as statues, papyrus scrolls, leather clothing, footwear, and even remnants of ancient trees were discovered, offering a vivid glimpse into daily life in ancient Egypt. According to Muhammad Abdel Badi, representative of the Central Antiquities Department of Upper Egypt, these findings help us reconstruct a comprehensive picture of religious practices, rituals, architecture, and everyday life of one of the world's oldest civilizations. This is not just an excavation but a doorway to the past, where the living expressed such intense devotion that they offered thousands of ram souls to honor a long-deceased king. Truly, the religion and spiritual beliefs of ancient Egypt are both awe-inspiring and mysterious, leaving us curious. Are we only seeing the surface of a civilization that still holds many secrets yet to be revealed? A 3,500-year-old tomb hides a royal treasure that stuns archaeologists. If you're passionate about archaeology, hearing about an ancient Egyptian royal tomb probably brings to mind mystery, gold, and precious jewels, right? Just recently, in September, the global archaeology community was buzzing when a royal burial site was uncovered at the Dra El Naga Cemetery, located right next to the Valley of the Kings, the resting place of legendary pharaohs. But this time, it wasn't just a small find. It was a nearly 3,500-year-old treasure trove. Yes, 3,500 years. Goosebumps worthy for sure. During their excavation, archaeologists discovered a tomb with a rather unique structure. A small chamber near ground level and about 26 feet below, a burial chamber containing 8 ancient mummies. Interestingly, the person believed to be the original occupant of this tomb wasn't a king, but a jeweler named Amenemhat, who lived during the 18th dynasty, the golden era of ancient Egypt. Speaking of the 18th dynasty, it brings to mind legendary figures like Tutankhamun, Nefertiti, and Hatshepsut, kings and queens who left a profound mark on human history. So, the fact that a jeweler received such an elaborate burial, complete with numerous treasures, has experts asking many questions. Was he someone with significant influence, or does this tomb hide even deeper secrets? Alongside the mummies, archaeologists found 4 wooden coffins, exquisite jewelry, and notably, 150 Ushabti statues. If you're familiar with Egyptian culture, you know Ushabtis are small figurines buried to serve the deceased in the afterlife, essentially servants for the spirit, according to the spiritual beliefs of that time. Additionally, many burial ritual objects were uncovered, all helping to shed more light on ancient Egyptian customs and faith. But that's not all. Inside the tomb, an extraordinary discovery amazed the archaeologists: 50 ancient seals, including 40 belonging to 4 officials from previously unknown periods of Egyptian history. This could indicate that the tomb wasn't reserved for a single individual but was connected to several important figures in the political system of the era, a finding that might rewrite part of history. What's more, 3 other mummies were found in 2 nearby coffins dating back to the Middle Kingdom period, roughly 2050 to 1800 BCE. This shows the area was used continuously as a burial site for many centuries, at least from the Middle Kingdom through the Third Intermediate period, spanning more than 1,000 years. Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, Khalid al-Nani, praised this discovery as extremely important for studying Egypt's culture and history. He also revealed that only about 30% of ancient Egypt's artifacts have been excavated so far. That means 70% are still resting beneath the sands of time, waiting to be uncovered, which is truly mind-blowing, isn't it? Secret passage beneath the Sphinx leads to a pharaoh's tomb, forgotten for thousands of years. Sounds familiar, right? The Egyptian Sphinx, a grand symbol standing tall in the Giza desert, has long baffled archaeologists for generations. But here's a secret few know. Right beneath those massive stone ears, there may be a mystery beyond imagination, an undiscovered burial chamber of a pharaoh. Just hearing that sends chills down your spine, doesn't it? The story begins with a recent shocking theory from historian and YouTuber Matthew Sibson. He questioned, could there be an ancient pharaoh's mummy hidden inside the Sphinx? Surprisingly, this idea isn't just made up for fun. It's backed by solid evidence from centuries of research dating back from the 17th to the 19th centuries. According to records, in 1679, scholar Johann Michael van Sleben documented a secret passage leading underground inside the Sphinx. Over 150 years later, in 1853, renowned Egyptologist Auguste Mariette continued exploring and confirmed there was a large void, like an underground chamber, right beneath the statue. You'd think that would solve the mystery, but no. In 1926, during a major restoration of the Sphinx, the Egyptian authorities sealed the passage with concrete, closing off any chance for the world to learn what might be hidden below. Since then, both the chamber and secret passage have been gradually forgotten under layers of dust and time. What makes this theory even more compelling is that the Sphinx's face is believed to resemble Pharaoh Khafra, the ruler during the statue's construction. This strengthens the possibility that the Sphinx wasn't just a spiritual symbol, but also a gateway to a royal tomb, potentially holding Khafra's mummy or those of other kings from his era. And here's something interesting. Scholars have long debated the real purpose of the 3 pyramids at Giza. Some believe they are the final resting places of 3 pharaohs, while others argue that the Sphinx might be the key leading to the true burial site. At this point, doesn't it feel like stepping into an Indiana Jones adventure? But wait, there's more. Ancient documents reveal that the passage beneath the Sphinx started as a natural crack, which the ancients expanded by hand around the 6th century BCE. In other words, they cleverly used the natural limestone terrain to create a path leading down to a hidden underground chamber. Could they have repurposed it as a secret royal tomb? A mobile burial site perfectly disguised within the desert? Though sealed, if you look closely behind the statue, you can still spot a faint entrance obscured beneath the old concrete. Pause the video and look carefully. See it? It's there. The trace remains clearly visible. So, what do you think? Could there really be a forgotten treasure beneath the Sphinx, an unknown pharaoh's tomb waiting to be discovered? Or is it all just legends built up over thousands of years? As you can see, recent archaeological discoveries in Egypt have provided invaluable insights into this great ancient civilization. From grand tombs and perfectly preserved mummies to exquisite artifacts, these findings not only shed light on the religious rituals and daily life of the ancient Egyptians, but also open a window into their social classes, art, and science. These discoveries continue to capture global attention and serve as an endless source of inspiration for researchers and history enthusiasts alike. So, what about you? Which discovery impressed you the most? Let us know by leaving a comment down below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on more exciting discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you next time.